We got some news updates in the libel lawsuits that are going to hit the media, and boy, let me tell you, I have dealt with defamation, libel, slander, etc., talked to many different lawyers over a long period of time because I have been subjected to harassment, slander, lies, and all of these things. It's a pretty tough position to be in when the media overtly lies about you. One of the big problems is that when they say, they call Count Dankula far right, which he's not, he's like centrist, libertarian, slightly leaning left. That's an opinion, because far doesn't mean anything. There's nothing you can do about it. And they can smear him all day and night. They can call you alt-right. They can call you whatever they want. Even if you come out and say, these are the things I explicitly oppose, they can still claim you don't and you're lying. That's their opinion. However, when it comes to this case, man, I watched a supercut, okay, of all of the lies that were put up by the media, zero fact-checking. It was insane. They flat out said on many local affiliate channels like Fox and NBC and all these other channels, not Fox News, but like local affiliates, that this kid, Nicholas Sandmann, walked up to the Native American, got in his face. Never happened. They then said he was harassing a Native American. I'm sorry, harassing a Vietnam veteran. Never happened. He wasn't a Vietnam veteran. That's fake news. All of these companies are going to likely pay out because they have almost no defense. You can't go on TV and say things that aren't true. You just can't do it. And that's what they did. And yes, many of these people made honest mistakes. Honest in that there are a lot of personalities who don't do the research. It's not their job to do it, but it still doesn't absolve you of libel and defamation liability. So let's read the first update from the Daily Wire. Nicholas Sandmann's family makes major move against media after being smeared. There's another story too. The family of 16-year-old Covington Catholic student Nicholas Sandmann has hired a high-powered lawyer who specializes in going after media organizations for libel and slander. WCPO reports that the family has hired L. Lynn Wood, who disgraced former journalist Dan Rather, described as the attorney for the damned, and who is known for aggressive libel and slander suits against media organizations. The family made the announcement in a statement released by the Hemmer D. Frank Wessel's law firm, The Inquirer reported. Todd McMurtry, the family's legal counsel, conducted an extensive search to find a nationally recognized attorney skilled in the fields of libel, defamation, and the First Amendment, the release said. Wood has a history of representing high-profile clients in major cases, including the family of John Benet Ramsey and others. We have a quote. Mr. Wood brings an unrivaled record of success in the courtroom, having represented such clients as the family of John Benet Ramsey, former Representative Gary Condit, and Richard Jewell in lawsuits against the media, McMurtry wrote. Mr. Wood visited with the family today in northern Kentucky. He is committed to bringing justice to 16-year-old Nick Sandmann and his family. Further announcements should be expected in the next few days. And I'll tell you this, there are many people still doubling down. And I'm not one to normally do this, but I've got to call out specifically Sam Cedar, okay? Because Sam has a relatively large YouTube channel. He has a decently large audience, and he put out a video yesterday that was factually incorrect, okay? I don't know what his political position on the whole thing was. That doesn't matter. I'm simply saying he made some factually incorrect statements. For one, he called Nathan Phillips a Vietnam veteran. That is factually false, and it has been, I believe, 3 days since we knew, maybe even 4 days since we knew he didn't serve in Vietnam. After that, okay, so we knew he didn't serve in Vietnam, but after that the question was, did he ever claim to be a Vietnam veteran? Because he said on CNN he was a Vietnam Times veteran. So is this the fault of news organizations or this individual who lied? We now learned that on Facebook only a few months ago, Nathan Phillips, the Native American man, lied about saying he said he was a Vietnam vet. So I think at the very least we can say he has continually pushed this narrative to make people assume he was a vet, but he has said he was too, and there's no reason why someone like Sam should have his facts wrong days after the fact. Plain and simple, okay? To clarify, Washington Post, I think they issued a correction on like the 21st or the 22nd, so about 3 days ago. I could be wrong, but it was a few days ago. They issued a correction. He was not a Vietnam veteran, okay? Plain and simple. It is a fact. You can't go on a YouTube channel. You can't even in private say these kids harassed a Vietnam veteran because they didn't. Phillips is not a Vietnam veteran, but let's read on. Sandmann was thrust into national spotlight over the weekend after far-left activists and left-wing journalists spread a selectively edited video clip of an interaction between him and Native American. So I think we all know this here. They say the Covington Catholic students were verbally attacked by a designated hate group that called them child molesting, homophobic slur, dirty ass racist slur, future school shooters, and incest babies. And then they include Tucker Carlson's segment saying Tucker Carlson highlights what happened. We get it. Rob Sanders, a prosecutor for Kenton County, Kentucky, where Covington Catholic High is located, told Fox News' Laura Ingraham on Wednesday night that a criminal investigation against those who threaten the students is already underway. They have the full transcript there, which I'm not going to read into all that. So there's actually another story. It's not just this one high-powered lawyer, because we also have a report from Cassandra Fairbanks over at the Gateway Pundit. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Gateway Pundit. Plain and simple, they're and mostly for a few things where they like deleted some articles, but I know Cassandra and I trust her reporting for the most part. So I always try to preface that because I'm not, look, plain and simple, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Gateway Pundit, but they say, Cassandra says, Scoop, defamation dream team of 5 law firms assembling to take on journalists, media outlets, and celebrities who attacked Covington kids. According to lawyer Robert Barnes, who is representing several of the families, the team will include at least 5 lawyers from 5 different law firms, all with a record of high-profile civil cases. Full disclosure, I am friends with Cassandra. I speak to her fairly regularly, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Robert Barnes was a lawyer for her at one point in a defamation case. Not that I think this is overly important, it's just I want to make sure you guys understand any potential biases. We cannot yet report the names of the lawyers who are joining forces, but we can assure you that you have heard of their cases. When asked about who exactly they are planning to sue out of the hundreds of celebrities and journalists who defamed these boys, I believe it's actually in the thousands. There's actually a list of, I think, 2,000 people, but it could just be 2,000 tweets. Barnes confirmed that former CNN host Reza Aslan, actor Michael Rappaport, and ABC News senior political analyst anchor Matthew Dowd are on the list for starters. According to sources, the family of Nick Sandmann has also fired his previous lawyer. Wow, really? The reason is unclear, but it came on the heels of the Today Show interview where he was interrogated by a clearly hostile interviewer. Aslan, who was fired from CNN for calling President Donald Trump a piece of S on Twitter, apparently has not learned his lesson. On Sunday, 46-year-old Aslan tweeted a photo of Sandmann asking if basically insinuating that, you should punch this kid or his face was punchable. Twitter determined that this violent tweet about a minor did not violate their terms of service. The real reason, in my opinion, why Twitter isn't banning any of these people, as they stated, Twitter stated to Brian Stelter of CNN, you are the lifeblood of Twitter. Twitter will not go against the media class because they are the biggest proponent. Why did Alex Jones get banned from Twitter? Because all of these journalists were demanding they did and threatening to leave. So Twitter says, okay, if they're the ones who make the content for Twitter, let's ban everybody else. And that's what happens. So they'll get rid of conservatives because the conservative media isn't powerful enough. And there you have it. So they go on, she goes on to say, Rappaport ruthlessly attacked the boys, many as young as 14 years old, calling them a bunch of names, which I won't read, and more in a posted video to Twitter. Now, I will say, without watching the video, insulting someone, you can call them whatever name you want. I think it's ridiculous that a grown man is insulting a bunch of kids who are acting like kids, but unless Rappaport made a false statement of fact, it could be likely not really, there might not be a case against him. But I will say, we just don't know what's going to happen. If a bunch of lawyers serve a bunch of papers, look, every kid in that video could have papers served to these people. If they get a stack, right, just a huge stack of lawsuits from each individual who is smeared or lied about, that could be overwhelming for most, and most might just say, okay, what do we do to make this go away? So it's possible that the overwhelming suits cause issues. On Monday, Dowd called on his followers and colleagues to not let these kids, their parents, and their school off the hook, regardless of what led up to this awful, whatever he's trying to say there. But I'll point something out. There are a lot of people on the left still demanding action against these kids, even today. For one, I'm going to go back to Sam Cedar, mostly because he's just factually incorrect days after the corrections rolled in. These kids were not harassing Nathan Phillips, and there's actually a very obvious reason, and I can't believe I actually have to argue this point. But in the longer video, you can see one kid is arguing with one of the natives, and Sandman looks at him and goes like this. He makes the cut it out, clearly trying to diffuse tensions. He himself, Nicholas Sandman, was not harassing or anybody. He wasn't getting in anyone's face. Phillips is a veteran, and it is clear by the action he took in the video that he was trying to tone things down. How they could then try and blame that kid for anything is ridiculous. It's obvious these kids were doing their high school chants, being kids, chanting football things and high school slogans when Phillips walked up banging the drum, and they just got into it. They were happy. It's kind of sad. These kids were having a good time. Despite the story having been bunked, Dowd continues to double down. I'm not going to read through his tweets, but they say, Cassandra says, the kids certainly aren't off the hook for smiling, though being bullied by adults, as their school has had over 100 serious threats to the point where Homeland Security had to get involved. We hope he is happy he got his wish. Listen for yourself. And so Cassandra posts her tweets from where they actually shut down the school, I believe. Covington sent out a call to parents, letting them know that the school is on for tomorrow. It was canceled today due to safety reasons. And then she said, here is the phone call Covington Catholic parents just received. He said Homeland Security had to get involved over a smile. But there you have it, the latest update. This story is insane, and what we're seeing from this is really interesting. There's been a wave of journalists calling for getting off Twitter. Insider said they're not going to allow people and their staff for 1 week to use Twitter. There's an op-ed in the New York Times saying never tweet, and even CNN's Brian Souther said, you know, maybe that's the right thing to do. And I'm going to say it right now, journalists, get off Twitter. You are in a bubble, you are following each other, you are not breaking news, you are pumping out trash, and this is the egg on your face, and they are going to lose these cases. I cannot see how USA Today can say they chanted build the wall. I kid you not, USA Today said that, like, boom. They said a bunch of high school kids were chanting build the wall at a Native American. They never did. Never. How that story came out definitive as a statement of fact blows my mind. But anyway, if there's any more updates, I'll be on the story. Obviously, it's going to keep going. It's kind of ridiculous, but stick around. I got a video coming up on my main channel, youtube.com/timcast at 4 p.m., and I will see you there.